The following is a live sports event featuring the Abernathy Antelopes or Lady Lopes and is under the direction of AA Sports Properties in partnership with Abernathy ISD. This broadcast cannot be reproduced or retransmitted without the written consent of AA Sports Properties. Tonight's broadcast is made possible by the support of our generous sponsors: MC Master Roofing and Construction, South Plains Auto Ranch, First State Bank, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Abernathy First Baptist Church, Storm Guard, Clark Riley Insurance, Able Funeral Home and Flower Shop, Plains Land Bank, JC Refrigeration, Spradlin Spray Service, Vista Bank, Lambert Insurance, The Junkin Farmers Market, Ty Horsford Realtor, and DB Media. Buckle up and enjoy all of the exciting action with the Abernathy Antelopes and Lady Lopes.
To Rolando. This time he takes it himself, untouched into the end zone. Rolando Martinez from 1 yard out, and the Abernathy Antelopes strike first. Comes Michaela Marshall off the dribble. Mid-range jumper. Marshall gives Abernathy the lead. Snap, he hands it to Rolando. Burst of speed up the middle. Dagger! Touchdown! Superman! Now, all the way in the corner, Flores. It's good! Flores the steal! And the three-pointer! As time runs out, flag comes in, the punt is blocked, and it's going to be an Antelope touchdown! Barring the penalty, as it's Cash Garcia who blocked it, scooped it, and scored it. But
And good evening, Abernathy, Texas, and good evening, fans of the Antelopes and Lady Lopes. Ty Horsford alongside Chance Rocha, and Outside the Box rolls on as here we are, week number 8 in the busy fall season for the Antelopes and Lady Lopes. And Chance, good to be back with you. And we talked last week. We thought we would have a close battle between Abernathy and New Home to open district play, and we had just that. As for the third time in 4 games, Abernathy notches a win in the final 2 minutes as the Cardiac Lopes get it done again as they get a massive 25-20 win over the New Home Leopards in their first ever meeting to open district play, and it went right down to the wire.
Yeah, it definitely went right down to the wire, Ty, and I think us kind of anticipating that was just how well both defenses have played, and then just kind of looking to see what our defense could do against them. We knew if we put pressure on their quarterback, that would kind of hurt them a little bit, and I think that's what initially kind of gave us the edge in this game. But, man, Cardiac kids, comeback kids, whatever you want to call them, as long as they keep stacking those victories on Friday nights, I'm excited.
Yeah, Abernathy has now won 4 straight after dropping the first 2 games of the season. So Abernathy now at 4-2 overall, but most importantly, they are 1-0 in district play. And Chance, it was a game that Abernathy led for the most part throughout. It was back and forth. It stayed tied for a long time at 13 through the middle part of the game, but Abernathy jumped out to the early lead. They led 13-6. It was 13 up at half. Abernathy retook the lead 19-13. But then early on in the fourth quarter, you had New Home. They took their first lead of the ball game at 20-19. And I think there was about 11 and a half minutes or so. And then after the teams exchanged a couple possessions, Abernathy gets pinned back at their own 5-yard line with about 8.5 minutes left. And I think me and you, when that happened, we both kind of looked at each other and kind of had the thought of, we've been here before.
Yeah.
And it's worked out well. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, Abernathy goes about 6.5 minutes, 95 yards, scoring drive. You've got big pass plays on that drive to Aaron Russum to keep the drive alive. On 4th and 2, you had Rolando Martinez, a tough run of 4 yards. And then, of course, Darian Duval, the big grab going to a knee in the front corner of the end zone as he caught one from 16 yards out, which proved ultimately to be the game winner, even though there were some fireworks after that.
Yeah, there definitely was. And I think that, credit to the team. And I think us being there before Ty early in the season, really gave us that momentum and is able to give the coaching staff that confidence to say, hey, guys, we've been here before. We know what this is like. We need to put points on the board, and for them to go down there and make the plays happen when they needed to happen. And, and on that last drive right there, we went in, Orlando does that big fourth and 2 run, and then he ends up having to come out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was a breather. He was banged up a little bit. He ended up having to come out. So you're trying to put points on the board, from just inside the 20 without one of your top playmakers right there. So credit to the defense or to the offense and still being able to get that done. And so, and Duval, that catch was one of those ones where he had dropped that long pass. It looked like we thought he caught it,
but it was ruled incomplete.
Yeah, and so he kind of got some redemption from there. And then him and Maverick Shadden both were in and out of the game. It looked like they kind of tweaked something or had some things going on. And so he was back in the game and able to make that big catch. And I'm sure that felt great for him to kind of get some redemption for that. And then, not only on offense, but we still left time on the clock.
Yeah.
Just under 2 minutes. Newhome's able to get the ball back. And, you put them behind the sticks. You have them right where you want them, 4th and 6.
You're feeling good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking all we got to do is get one more stop
the
here.
crowd's fired up. It's loud. Everybody's jumping around. New home side is dead. And then what do you have happen?
Yeah. Then they throw a 52-yard bomb on 4th and 6, and they get down to almost a 10. And I know from where we were at, we saw the flags fly, and we're thinking, oh, no, penalty, and they're going to be inside the 10, just from what it looked like.
Because from what we saw, from our vantage point, it was a visible unsportsmanlike conduct on Rolando.
Correct.
And which was the right call.
Yeah.
I mean, it absolutely was, but we didn't see what kind of started that whole process.
Yeah. We didn't see that part, and then we really couldn't tell what happened. So we're thinking, okay, they're going to get 15 yards or half the distance and be at the 5. Instead, we see them start to back up the other way and throw another flag, and we're thinking, what happened? I don't know if it was a coach, player, combination of both, but, they were upset about the offsetting unsportsmanlike, and so they give Newhome another unsportsmanlike, so it takes them all the way back to the 27, and they really just kind of lost all momentum that they had after that long pass. We had some tackle for losses, and then we put them in like 30 and 32, and Jackson Arrington, Kelton Carver, they get home and get the strip sack, and we get the recovery, and that kind of sealed it right there for the Lopes.
Yeah, absolutely, and that turn of events drastically changed things because you're looking at Newhome having first down and goal from the 4 or 5 yard line, and at that point there was still about a minute, 5 minute left, plenty of time. But then all of a sudden you back up 15 yards, and that proved to be costly. You've got to give Newhome a lot of credit in this ball game that they came out tough like we thought they would. Abernathy, they kind of did get cooked. Our one of our keys to the game was don't get cooked by the Cook brothers. We kind of did. But I guess we got taken out of the oven a little bit early or something. I don't know because it didn't do us in. But both of those cooks were as advertised, both quarterback and receiver, and they did really, really well. You have Newhome on the stat sheet outgaining Abernathy offensively on the ground as well as through the air. But again, where it counts is on the scoreboard.
That's it,
and that's where Abernathy comes out on top. You did have Caleb Cook finishing the game, leading the team in rushing and passing for almost 200 yards. Colby Cook caught 5 catches for 74, but it wasn't enough, luckily, for the Newhome Leopards. And Abernathy got the job done as well, Chance. Lots of standouts, and I think you mentioned it a second ago. It really started on the defensive side of the ball, and we haven't been able to say that a ton this year. And so it was really good to see the defense step up. 9 tackles for loss, including 4 sacks. And then, of course, that big stop that we talked about at the end of the ball game.
Yeah, the big strip sack really sealed the deal. And I think, even though Caleb Cook, he did a great job. He's a great athlete. He's a great quarterback, so we'll give him credit there. And so is Colby. But I think that he was tired by the end of the game. I mean, even when we weren't getting a sack, we were hurrying him. Even if we didn't get a tackle for loss. And I think you can only run around so much. So you have to think you have, 9 tackles for losses, and they drop back to pass, around 20, 28, 25 times. And so that's a lot of pressures that you're getting on them. And that's not even counting the quarterback hurries. And so we probably had 5, 6, 7 more of those. So about half the time he's dropping back, you're making him run for his life essentially. And he made some good plays, but when the defense needed to step up, they did their job and they were able to get home and get that strip sack. And so, big nights on offense as well, where Orlando had another night. I said it in the pregame. I said if he rushes for 100, you're almost guaranteed to win.
And that's almost becoming automatic for him.
Yeah, for sure. He's kind of your bell cow, 23 carries, 121 yards, and then Wiley just continues to improve and continues to grow. He's making smart decisions, and they're putting him in good positions to make plays. He's 17 of 21 for 174 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, he has 4 touchdowns and only 4 incompletions, so very consistent and very decisive on the throws he's making for sure.
Yeah, and part of that goes credit to the offensive line. They were giving Wiley all day to throw. Abernathy, and we talked about it, Chance, on the broadcast, on and off air. Abernathy really dominated that game, both on the offensive and defensive fronts. You were in their backfield all night long. You did a good job protecting Wiley. Newhome's rush defense was actually pretty good. Yeah. Holding Rolando to 121, that's actually not bad compared to what we're used to from him. But our guys up front in the trenches do a good job. And what I love, not only 4 incomplete passes on the night for Wiley, you throw 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. As you've got Trejo catching one, Shadden catching one, both in the first half, and then Russum had a big one, and then, of course, Duval, we mentioned him. So not really keying on one guy. Is Wiley's doing a good job of seeing the options, finding the open man, and getting it to him in a good position.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, all 4 of them were exciting, but I think the one to Russum was the prettiest one, in my opinion. Obviously, the game winner counts the most, but, man, that throw to Wiley, he just kind of set back, sidestepped a guy, and just threw it right over the top of him, and he, caught it at the back of the end zone. And during the broadcast, I told Ty, that was pretty.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
Absolutely.
And that just shows the touch and the confidence, like I said, that Wiley has. Even he's just continuing to grow, and that's just something I'm going to just keep keying on is if we can continue to see that progression, he's just going to continue to flourish as district games go on. So
yeah, absolutely. And Chance, when you take a look around the district, is over the next week or so, this district's really going to kind of start to take shape. You had 2 games that were not close, and the other 2 district ball games. You had Post as advertised. They remained unbeaten. They go on the road to New Deal, and they just thrashed the Lions 61-20 in a game that really probably wasn't even that close. To be honest with you. And then how about Olton? Floydada has struggled, but Olton, they kind of get a statement to open district on their home field as they put up 62 on the Whirlwinds en route to a 62-7 win. And so that leaves you Post, Abernathy, and Olton all at 1-0 in district. Olton and Abernathy at 4-2 overall. Post undefeated at 6-0. And then you've got New Deal, Newhome, and Floydada heading into this second week of the district season. Chance, they're kind of in desperation mode 1 week in because you're gonna be behind the 8 ball if you drop to 0-2, and so you've got New Deal, Newhome, and Floydada all looking for their first district wins coming up this week.
Yeah, they're looking for and they're in must-win scenarios. Post made a big statement, and you said it already, Ty. 61-20. And really, it was 34-7 after the first quarter.
Yep.
I mean, that just kind of shows you how dominant they were.
It was never close.
Yeah. And, Olton's game was fairly similar. But the interesting thing is, Ty, we go to New Deal, and we'll kind of preview that later. But the big thing is Olton and Post play each other, both 1-0, playing each other this week. And so that game is going to go a long way in the district standing. So that's a very important game that's going to be happening at Post. So Olton looking, they defended home field. Now they got to go to Post and see if they can kind of pull an upset against them. But, just from what I've seen, what I've read on Post, they look like they're going to be a pretty tough out for anybody in the district for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily, Abernathy in pretty good shape at 1-0, heading to New Deal. Again, we'll preview that matchup here in just a little bit. But we'll take our first break here this evening on Outside the Box, episode 8. When we come back, we'll take a look around Abernathy ISD, and Chance will also highlight kind of our cross-country teams when we come back on the other side of the break. Got a chance to visit with some of those guys this week, guys and girls, as they get ready for the regional cross-country meet coming up next week. So stick with us. We will be back. This is Outside the Box. If you are needing your heating or air conditioning unit serviced, look no further than JC Refrigeration in Lubbock. We have been serving West Texas with all of their HVAC needs for many years and look forward to serving you. When you use JC Refrigeration, you know you'll be getting honest and reliable service from professionals that you can trust. Give us a call today at 744-9855. JC Refrigeration proudly supports the Antelopes and Lady Lopes.
At Nutrien Ag Solutions, we are proud to be known as the ag retailer of the future and are committed to helping growers meet their full potential. We consistently provide the best performing chemical, fertilizer, and seed products, financing programs, and second-to-none technology. With 6 locations nearby, Nutrien Ag Solutions is ready to serve you with all of your agricultural needs. David Carver and his team are thankful for the customers who continue to trust Nutrien with their business. We are wishing the Antelopes and Lady Lopes an incredible and blessed year.
And welcome back to Outside the Box. You know, we have fun doing the show. I'm going to tell you right now, you should hear us off air. I'm just letting you know.
I've been asked, what do y'all talk about off air? And what happens behind the mic stays behind the mic.
That's right. So, all right, Ty, we're going to do a look around AISD. You know, that's one of the reasons we did this show. You know, we could talk about football all day, every day, but we want to kind of talk about everything else going around AISD. But let's kind of finish with our sub-varsity report. I did a little bit in the game, but it was kind of snuck in there late because it was such an intense game. But our 7th grade boys, they came up with a big W against New Home, 16-8. Big games from Drake Warner and Maddox Waldrip. Both of them had touchdowns to kind of put the Lopes up on that one. And 8th grade, man, it was a tough night for 8th grade. They've been undefeated through 7th grade, and they've been undefeated so far this season. And they had their first, not a loss.
They're still undefeated.
They're still undefeated, but they did have a tie. And, you know, one of the things that I would credit those boys, you could tell how much it meant to them. They come off the field, and you would have thought that they got beat by 40. But just to have a tie and for them to be that emotional, that's how much winning means to that group. And winning it's contagious, and that 8th grade group definitely has it. And so, and a lot of our grades do have that, but that 8th grade group, you know, they definitely they're used to it and they expect it. And so, even though they tied 14-14, Cutter Johnson had a 30-yard touchdown pass to Isaac Moreno. Isaac Moreno also had an interception on the 1-yard line to keep the game, you know, where it was at, and so did Ralphie Barrios. He had another interception on the 1-yard line, and then Aiden Villarreal kind of did what he does. He had a 45-yard touchdown run as well. So great game by them. Tough to come out with the tie, but good game for the 8th graders. And then JV, they had a tough loss. They let New Home jump out early on them, and they tried to battle back, but they got beat 26-14, and that was in New Home. So they tried to erase that deficit, but they fell short. And to wrap up the rest of our junior high volleyball, they played over the weekend in Shallowater, and the girls, they had some tough matches to Lubbock Titans and Level M, but they were able to beat All Saints, and then they actually dominated this past Monday against Ropes. And the 8th grade group was having some growing pains. I know they were dealing with some injuries, and they faced some tough competition the past over Saturday and then against Ropes on Monday. So they came up short in all those matches, but they definitely fought hard.
Yep, absolutely, Chance. And varsity volleyball, they were not able to come up with their first district win as they were swept by a good Ropes team this week. And their next ball game or match is next Tuesday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday next week, as they will take on Post in Post. Post actually a team they did win a set against earlier in the year, and so maybe Abernathy can sneak one out on the road at Post.
That would be exciting.
Sure. in district volleyball coming up next week. As promised, we're going to highlight our our cross country Lady Lopes and Antelopes chance because they are on the heels of a very successful district meet.
And a hill in May Simmons.
Yeah, and it's funny. We talk about that with Coach Carlisle here in a minute. It actually made it on a shirt a few years ago, apparently. But you've got the girls finishing second as a team, the Lady Lopes in district. That was good enough to qualify the entire girls team for regionals. You had Bree Shorter as an underclassman. She ran a personal best and just blew away the competition. Chance, I saw a video of her finishing, and there was not even anyone else on the screen.
There you go.
She was so far ahead, and so she took home the girls district title. And then Noah Rigler. We've talked about him all year long on the boys' side, and they really didn't have enough boys to have a team big enough to compete on the team point schedule. But Noah Rigler brings home a varsity boys district championship as well. And then you also have Henry Webb. Webb finishes 6th on the boys' side, and he also is a regional qualifier. And you're going to hear it here in just a minute, but Coach Kerry Carlisle just really proud of this group. They've dealt with some injuries. They've overcome some adversity, and it all kind of came together at that district meet. And I thought she had an interesting point, Chance. We haven't really talked about this. She said, in football season or in basketball season, you make the postseason based on your scope of work.
Yeah.
An entire season. And one loss or two losses don't necessarily eliminate you from postseason. In cross country, it's one race.
Yep.
You go run a district race. It doesn't matter if you feel good, if you're whatever that day.
For sure.
And you've got one race, and if you don't run well, then your season's over.
Yep.
And you had a group of kids do really, really well.
Yeah, and especially the fact that they kind of battled some injuries and some adversity early on in the season. We knew that they were going to compete just because of the competition they did face, but it's exciting for them to go out there and win district, both of the titles, and then also have, the whole team in another boy advance. So that's just exciting for them, and it's exciting, to be dropping down in a district and be able to have that much success.
As I had a really good chat with head coach Kerry Carlisle, so let's let you hear from her. That's enough of us talking, and let's let you hear from Coach Carlisle, our head Lady Lope and Antelope cross-country coach. Okay, well, today we are joined by Coach Kerry Carlisle. She's our head cross-country coach. And, Coach, you just finished a very successful district cross-country meet. You've got several kiddos headed to regionals, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just kind of overall, as you come near the end of cross-country season, you still got some things to shoot for. Yeah. Kind of how would you summarize the season as a whole for these girls and boys?
Okay. Well, our season actually starts right after July the 4th. That's when I start running our kids. So it has been a very long season. We've had some ups and downs as far as injuries go, but pretty much everybody's back and working hard to get back, And then as far as that goes, I feel like this group of kids were very successful. I don't think I've had a lot of success in my cross-country years, but I don't think I've ever had 3 district champions. So we've had district champion teams, but not individuals. And so I'm really proud of our individuals and also, having our girls team qualify. We needed a couple more runners for our boys to qualify them. But then again, our JV, perfect. They won the whole thing. So I always love to see that. Yeah. It's really nice at the award ceremony to hear Abernathy, Abernathy, Abernathy. And I told somebody the other day, if we'd had a JV team, boys, we'd have won that too.
Absolutely. So, And that's kind of a good segue into the next question. Obviously, you mentioned between JV and varsity, you have 3 individual district champions.
Yes.
The girls play second. They qualify as a team. Kind of, what does that speak to just the strength of the cross-country program in general, do you feel like?
Well, I feel like that our kids are finally starting to understand, well, not finally, they understand what it takes and they've bought into it. They know that if they'll start early with me, it's not as difficult as if you come in, day one of school. It's going to be rough because we're already up in mileage by then. So we're just preparing ourselves. I don't like to overtrain my kids, but I sneak in miles that I don't even think they realize that we do. We try to have fun and enjoy the season and do the things that we need to get done to be alive this time of the year. And that's kind of a hard thing because in cross country, it's one race.
Yeah.
If they're not good at district or they don't feel good or they have a bad race, they're out. And it's not like some of our other sports where, you qualify by all your games or whatever. We get one chance. And so it's a little more I guess you'd say nerve-wracking to my kids because they know, they've got to place high or they're not going to be going. And the same thing with regionals. It's top 4 teams in the state and then the top 10 that are not on a team, which is usually, about the top 15 runners. So It's tough. The state of Texas is big, and 2A is big, and 2A is not any easier than 3A in Texas cross country.
Yeah, obviously, anytime you go to the regional meet, your goal is you always want to advance, no matter what meet you're at.
Exactly.
But when you stack up your girls' team and these boys individuals, Noah and Henry,
right.
How do you feel like they kind of stack up as far as, again, you mentioned how difficult the state of Texas is.
Yes.
But kind of how do they stack up against the 2A competition heading into the regional meet?
Okay, well, I'll start with the girls. With our girls team, we're really going to have to excel this time to, qualify as a team. A couple of the girls have chances to qualify as individuals.
Yeah.
Bree definitely has a chance to qualify as an individual if she'll run like she did at district. And Natalie Maldonaldo's coming on, and so is Ireland. So, those, they could. I never count my kids out.
Absolutely.
Because all it does is take, one strong race from all of them. We've been really preaching the last couple of weeks here that we have got to stay together. I tell them a 10-second gap. And if we can stay together and be in that 10-second gap, and Bree's our leader and she's pulling us up in time, then they do have a chance. So we'll see. As far as Noah and Henry go, I know Noah said that, he's been working for this for 4 years. And I've told him all along that, young men develop and they get stronger. And as they get older, they become better runners. Whereas with my girls, it seems like that when they're young, they're the better runners. So I've told Noah he's just got to keep going and keep going. And we've also got him on about a 10-mile-an-hour pace that we've worked on. And so that's working for him too. And I know I was screaming and yelling at him at district, "You're at an 8, not a 10. You got to pick it up." And he then told me after the race, "Coach, I had it. I was good." So I think Noah is ready to go run. And Henry's going to have to run a little faster, but I'm not counting him out either, because he had a good race that day. He can show up and he can have a great race. And there's a chance of him qualifying as well, but he's going to have to cut about a minute off his time to do that.
Gotcha. Well, lots to look forward to heading into the regional meet. And kind of the last question I want to ask you, Coach Carlisle, is obviously being at a small school, all of our kiddos, all of our student athletes are involved in so much.
Everything.
Whether it's all different sports, whether it's ag, whether it's UIL. What do you think the advantage is for students to get to participate in so many different things? And also, it takes all the programs here at Abernathy working together to make it work.
Yeah.
And just would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, the kids are at an advantage, but they're also at a disadvantage, because I like to flip that coin. But the advantage is they get to do everything here, and we do work really hard to make sure that these kids, if they've got a ball game later, then we're shipping them to the ball game. If they're going to an ag competition, we're taking them to, we work at that stuff. Mr. Knight's great to work with band. It's everybody. And our kids know that we want them to do everything, because all our kids are good at the things that they do, and everybody wants them. And then I would say that the disadvantage is everybody wants them. So they're tired, and our school year is longer now as far as our days. And I've noticed that our kids are a lot more tired. It's weighing on them some right now. So I guess we're going to have to get, into the swing of things and get used to that type of a thing. But I think that it's great as far as giving them a plethora of things to be able to look at and do. And, if I had one suggestion, and I wish I would have done it better with my own, I would have said, don't just isolate yourself into sports or just isolate yourself into anything, because, it can be gone in an instant, and you need to have other areas to fall into. So I like to see the kids all working in all the different areas. It's good for them. Well, it really broadens and opens up a lot of opportunities for them.
Well, that's awesome, Coach. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and highlighting cross country, and good luck at regionals.
Yes, and thank you. And regionals is Monday. Okay. And we hope to see as many people out there on the course as we can to cheer these kids on because they love it when there's people around the course.
At May
rooting
Simmons,
for 'em.
correct?
Yes, sir. May Simmons.
That dreaded hill.
9 o'clock and 9:30. Hey, we had a T-shirt one time that said, "It's just a hill. Get over it."
There you go. I like it.
There
like
you
it.
go.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Coach. There you have it. It's just a hill. Get over it. In the words of head coach Carrie Carlisle, as we welcome you back in here on Outside the Box, and just a really good chat with Carrie Carlisle. And you can tell she's very passionate about these cross-country teams, and she pours a lot into these athletes. And she talked about, and I don't know that you have a season in any sport that's longer than cross-country. Yeah. She talked about how most of her runners she has running the week after July 4th to kind of begin the process to get ready to run in these meets. And so Coach Carlisle has done a great job. Our cross-country teams compete at a high level every single year. And also, she was super thankful. And we talked a lot off air. She said that her cross-country athletes don't always get the recognition as some of the other sports, and that's true across the board. They just don't. But those lady lopes and antelopes, they do a really good job, and they're going to be representing Abernathy at a pretty high level at the regional meet on Monday. And so, like she said, it's there in Lubbock at May Simmons. Come out, support those girls and guys as they both talked about their goal is to end at state. Yep. And to advance to state. That's always the goal, Chance. And so that Coach Carlisle does a great job with our cross-country teams.
For sure. And I think the fact that, just looking at the season and how it kind of intertwines with everything else that's going on, and it's so busy. And I think that she just highlighted the fact, the commitment from the kids to be able to do everything and having to share the kids and still being able to face some of that adversity and commit. Cross country is not an easy thing. I mean, like you said, starting running in July. I mean, really, those kids
when
probably
it's 172 degrees outside.
Well, not only that, but a runner's run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something you got to do, and I credit to them, kudos to them, and like you said, it's just a hill. Get over it, and hopefully they do that coming up this Monday, and we have some state qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely. Also had an opportunity to sit down with our most recent Lady Lope and Antelope District champions, as we had a quick chat with Antelope District champion Noah Rigler and Lady Lope District champion Bree Shorter, as they both are going to be competing with goals of making it to state. We got to talk a little bit to them about that. And so here's what Noah and Bree had to say. Okay, as today we are joined by regional qualifiers from our Abernathy cross-country team and district individual champions, Noah and Bree. Thank you guys so much for joining us today and taking a few minutes to talk about cross-country. So let's just start with, how do you feel like so far the cross-country season has gone for you individually and also your team, and kind of how have you grown over the course of the season?
So for the boys' side on our team, we didn't get what we wanted. We didn't qualify as a team. But for those coming back, it's going to be a great learning lesson, and they'll carry it on to next year. And I'm sure they'll be just fine. Just a growth year. A lot of young guys. I think it'll be good going forward. Me individually, it's been great. Best season I've had for all 4 of my years, which is what I've been working for. It's all the work that I've done has come to what it needs to be right now, which is great.
Awesome. What about you, Bree?
For the girls' side, I feel like we've done really good, and I'm glad that we qualified as a team because they worked really hard, and I'm glad that we have the bond that we have. And I feel like for me individually, I feel like I've been doing really good, and like this is also my second year or third year, but in high school, I feel like I've done really good, and I've pushed myself harder like each day to go better as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll stick with you for this next question, Bree. Obviously, you're heading to the regional meet here in a week or two. Kind of what is your ultimate goal heading into the regional meet?
I just want to push myself, and I want to PR again, and I feel like I could, and I just want to stay up there with the girls, like in bigger schools. And
So was your district meet, was that a personal record for you?
Yes.
Awesome. Very good. Noah, what about you heading into the regional meet? Kind of what are your expectations? What are your goals for yourself?
I mean, it's last year, so I have nothing to lose. It's go to state or go home, so that's all of it. I mean, I'd hope to PR, But even if I don't, as long as I make it to the next round, I'll be okay.
Awesome. Let's just stick with you, Noah. As far as obviously, I know you guys both play other sports. You're getting ready for basketball after cross country season. How do you feel like cross country prepares you physically and even mentally heading into other sports like basketball and different things down the road?
Yeah, so for basketball, especially, it keeps you in shape. It's a long sport. I mean, it's a little different. You got to do some sprinting, but endurance-wise, it's there. And then mentally, basketball is a game of ups and downs constantly. So you have to ride the wave, and if you can't mentally, then you're not going to win games. And I think that helps a lot because cross country is very mentally challenging. And it just helps you get ready for that.
For sure. What about you, Bree?
Same thing. It does help with like distance wise. You sprint the whole time. It does get tiring, but I feel like since we're in like good shape already, we won't get as tired as people are that didn't do cross country. And then same goes for other sports like track. It'd be good for track season because if you do distance and track, I feel like it'd be easy since you did distance and cross country.
Absolutely.
And then same goes for sprints and everything else.
No, that's awesome. And then last question, it can go for cross country or basketball or track or anything you guys compete in. But obviously when you go do these things, you're representing Abernathy. You're wearing that A on your chest or Lopes or Lady Lopes. Kind of what does that mean for you and how important is that for you?
I mean, it's really important because I'm supporting the school and I'm doing my best. And
Yeah, cool. What about you, Noah?
So it's great to represent the school. I mean, all 4 years it's been the best place. Nowhere else I'd want to be. It's a great community, great student involvement and everything. It's just good to represent such a great school and do it at this high of a level.
That's awesome. Well, good luck at regionals here in a couple of weeks, and we'll be rooting for you.
All right, thank you.
Y'all have a good day. And welcome back. Another good chat there with a couple of our student athletes as Bree Shorter and Noah Rigler. Lots of hats that they wear for the Antelopes and Lady Lopes, but most recently, Chance, district cross-country individual champions. So super proud of those guys. And you just got to hear right there Noah talk a little bit about how this has been a 4-year goal of his, something he's been working towards. You talk about Bree. Obviously, both of their goals are to advance to state. But Bree talked about the importance of her running her best race possible each time out at this point. And she ran a personal record at the district meet, and she hopes to break that and run another personal record, which she is confident she can do at the regional meet coming up. And if they both do that, that gives them a heck of an opportunity to get to that state meet in Round Rock.
Yeah, for sure. And, you could sense the urgency and the importance to them, not only in personally for them, but just how they wanted to represent Abernathy. And that just goes to the coaching and the coaching staff and getting them ready and prepared and knowing like, hey, you're doing this just for you personally, but also you representing our school. And I think that's just exciting for them to have that opportunity for sure to do that. And I think that, both of them have a pretty good shot of making it for sure. So.
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, Ty, that's exciting. That's coming up next week. We also have band. They're competing. I don't know if y'all we try to highlight them as much during the games as well, but we got a good band here at Abernathy.
We do.
And they're consistent, and the Knights do a great job, and so we just wanted to give them a shout-out. They do have their contest coming up on Saturday at Lowry Field, so if you want to go support them, you can do that. They're looking to try to advance on. If they do advance, that will be in November 2nd in Abilene, and hopefully from there, they've been there before, but hopefully from there they continue on to state, and that'll be November 12th in San Antonio. So go out and support the band. They always do a good job. If your kids like Disney, they're playing a Moana song this year, and it's pretty awesome. So shout out to the band and good luck to them this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. As we hope to highlight those the band program a little bit more, maybe with some interviews and whatnot next week.
Sure.
As hopefully they're preparing for an area competition.
That would be exciting.
So let's take one final timeout here on Outside the Box, Chance. We will come back and put the wraps on Week 8 of Outside the Box. We'll preview New Deal and kind of tell you what to look for moving ahead on Outside the Box. Stick with us.
At StormGuard, we provide experts you can count on. Sit back, relax, and let StormGuard take care of your home. If you're experiencing roof issues, let our qualified team of professionals repair or restore your roof. We work directly with your insurance company to make the process easy for you, and inspections are always free. At StormGuard, we are wishing the Lady Lopes and Lopes the best of luck this season.
For over 100 years, Plains Land Bank has specialized in financing rural property. We are passionate about agriculture and ensuring that producers are successful. Your land is more than just your livelihood, it's your legacy, and we want to see it grow for generations to come. Let us help you own a piece of Texas. Come visit our Plainview office today or give us a call at 806-296-5579. At Plains Land Bank, we are a proud supporter of our West Texas High School student athletes.
And for the final time here in episode 8, welcome back outside the box here as we put the wraps on this week's episode and we preview what will be the renewal of an old rivalry chance, the New Deal Lions and the Abernathy Antelopes. These two teams, they first met way back in 1940. I was really kind of surprised that there's only been 23 meetings, or 22. This will be the 23rd meeting. All time, Abernathy holds a 13-9 mark against the Lions, and they look to get to 14 wins against New Deal this coming Friday night.
For sure, and I was the same way as you, Ty, and I think it was because growing up, I remember playing Abernathy. That's what I remember going to those games, and that's because their biggest rivalry outside of the 40s, it kind of jumped. They didn't play again until 87, and then we played every year from 92 all the way to 99. So that's why I remember it, growing up and going to all those high school football games. Yes, I was a New Deal Lion. Don't hold it against me. I'm an Abernathy. I'm an Abernathy Antelope now. So, but just remember going to those games and seeing that rivalry. But, Abernathy does have the edge. They kind of handed most of those games in the 90s, and that's where they got the edge on New Deal. But as of recent, it's kind of been a back and forth in their most recent meetings. We were back in that same district 14, 15, 16, and 17, and they kind of traded blows, Ty. 14, Abernathy comes out on top, 15, New Deal comes out on top, and then 16, which was, Mr. Bryson Daly's freshman year. That's the year that they went to the quarterfinals and got beat by Crawford, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And, that was one of those games where it went down to the wire. Abernathy wins 21-20, and that's the last time that Abernathy has beaten New Deal. New Deal kind of got the last laugh that next year in 2017, topping the Antelopes, but I think we're going to have the last laugh and continue that winning tradition against New Deal on Friday.
Yeah, you've got a Lion team, and I say this with caution. They've struggled a little bit, at least for New Deal standards. They're 3-3 on the year. They're 0-1 in district. They've got impressive wins over Farwell and Roosevelt, two teams that are pretty good. But then they've dropped 3 of their last 4, with their only win coming against a Sundown team that, frankly, is not very good this year. They also lost to Slayton in that stint as well, and they get blown out by Lubbock Christian, which Lubbock Christian's really good.
They are.
Nothing there, but and then of course they got throttled by Post, 61-20 last Friday to open district, and so it's not the start that New Deal is used to. No. They win games. They've got a tradition of winning games, and I guarantee you, Chance, that Coach Hill's going to have them ready to go with Abernathy coming into their house on Friday night.
Yeah, I think that he definitely will. Not only because you lose a big district opener to Post in a really bad fashion, but also just letting him know the renewal of that rivalry. And so it's funny, looking back at just the history, Matt Hill, he's a New Deal guy through and through. His team was actually, his senior season was actually the team that beat Abernathy to go to the state quarterfinals back in 1987. So he has an animosity probably for Abernathy
for sure.
and to beat Abernathy. And so, but, they've struggled. I trust the Lopes. I know they're going to go in there hungry too, but, just like you said, they're used to winning. So don't give them an edge. Don't give them, an inch, because they may take a mile. And so you have to go in there ready to play for sure on Friday.
You're not going to just walk in and win.
No.
You're going to have to play well. That's going to be the case night in and night out in this district. Some players to keep an eye on, a chance for the Lions. Their 3-year starting quarterback. He started since he was a freshman. Dallas Sumner, a big kid. He can run, he can pass, and so keep an eye on Dallas Sumner. Trevon Cooper, number 9. You're going to hear his name a lot in the backfield. He runs the ball. He leads the team in rushing. And then when they do go to the air, David Aguirre, a guy you're going to hear a lot from, and on defense, Dalton Martin,
a guy that you're going to hear a lot of when talking about the New Deal Lions is Martin, wears number 8 and kind of leads the team in tackles. And so, Chance, when we talk about keys to this one for the Abernathy Antelopes, and I think you're probably catching on by now, a lot of our keys for success for these Antelopes, they're staying the same.
Yeah.
That they've been doing that, and it's meant wins, and it's a lot of the same.
Yeah, for sure. And, one of those things you have to look at, and this is hard for us when we're looking at the key players for them, that can change week to week with injuries and things going on, but those are the guys that we're expecting to key on. And I think one of the big things is continuing to be dominant at the line of scrimmage, putting pressure on their quarterback. You put pressure on him. They don't have a lot of size.
This is a team you should be able to do that against. I honestly didn't know that we would be able to do that against New Home the way we did, because New Home's big.
Yeah, they were.
New Deal's not.
Yeah, they're not, and they don't have a ton of depth either. They have some young guys on their team. Even though their quarterback's a third-year starter, he's still just a junior. So it's not like he's a senior, and they're ready to lead the team, even though he has been. So they have some young guys, and one thing we have to continue to do, Ty, is just staying balanced. We've done that, having about 25 to 20 rushes and about 20 to 21 passing plays. And that's credit to the OC. That's credit to the coaching staff of really making sure that Wiley stays in the rhythm and, you continue to control the game from the ground, starting that first and setting that tone.
Yeah, and Chance, I know you're hungry for a big signature win. and don't get me wrong, I am too. I would love to go out there and hang a $50 bill on them.
Yep.
That would be a lot of fun. And it would kind of turn some heads in district. But I feel like, and I say this loosely, I don't know if they're completely under the radar. I kind of like the Antelopes flying under the radar a little bit. They're just taking care of their business. It doesn't have to be flashy. They're just getting wins, and they're stacking wins. And when we talked to the seniors, football players a couple weeks ago, that's what they talked about, that the coaching staff just stacking success and stacking wins.
Yep.
And that's what we've been able to do the last several weeks.
For sure. And I would like a signature win. I would like to go out there and put a 50 burg on them and just be able to we came. This is kind of our district.
We came, we saw, we did.
Yeah, we conquered. Go Lopes, beat Lions, whatever it may be. But I agree with you. It is kind of nice flying under the radar. And I'll go back and reference that interview that we had with Bryson, and he kind of talked to us a little bit about he didn't feel like that his freshman year when they beat New Deal and they kind of went really, really far in the playoffs. He said, we were a good team,
they just
but
won.
It wasn't just like they were blowing people out. They were playing complete games and playing as a team. And I feel like with the senior leadership that we have mixed with some of the young guys that we have, that's kind of the balance that we're seeing for our team. And I love that. I still love to hang 50 on somebody, but
absolutely,
I'll take a W any way we can get it. But I'm excited. I know, Friday night and New Deal, I think our fans are going to travel well. Obviously, New Deal, it's a home game. They're going to be there, and especially people coming in to kind of see that rivalry renewed. So I think it's going to be a packed house, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool scene on Friday.
I was going to Lubbock today, and there's cotton bales that have been stripped that are on the side of the roads that's on the side of I-27 that say "Go Lopes, beat New Deal."
There you go.
So I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
West Texas, right there.
Absolutely. That's Friday Night Light stuff there. Next week we'll be on week 9. Chance we'll be back here next Wednesday night at 8:30. We're hopefully talking about a 2-0 start for the Antelopes in district play. We'll take a look around the district and kind of see how everybody did. I feel like after next week, we're really going to kind of see things start taking a little bit of shape and kind of knowing what to look out for. We're also going to have a conversation with our elementary principal and assistant principal, Joanna Fullingham, and Kaylee Sterner. Going to sit down with them and talk all things elementary as they've got a lot going on this time of year, and hopefully going to have some conversations with some band folks as well on the heels of their regional competition this coming Saturday. And then we'll preview the Whirlwinds. Again, a team you probably should beat, but a game you can't overlook. So
you definitely can't overlook it. And so, Ty, in the words of Bryson Daly, what did he say?
Go Lopes, beat New Deal.
That's it. You got to beat New Deal for sure on Friday. So
go Army, Friday, beat Navy. Go Lopes, beat New Deal.
That's it.
Oh, man. So for now, we'll say good night.
God bless.
And go Lopes.